and I will definitely be slotting this in some capacity. All right, artifacts. We are almost there. We actually have a bunch of lands to do too, which is interesting. But abandoned sarcophagus, 3 rare. You may cast non-land cards with cycling from your graveyard. If a card with cycling would be put in your graveyard from anywhere and it wasn't cycled, exiled instead. So this is a shitty Yawgmoth's Will. I'm not sure how good this is. Maybe this is like a cool thing to have in sealed. But I think this is ultimately not a great card. Yeah, I think ultimately no. It's hard to evaluate this. I think the correct rating would be to give this a C-. Because it's not horrible. It's not unplayable. It's like, in a cycling deck, I think you could get away with putting this in your deck if you have a great blue-black cycling deck. But this isn't going to make a good cycling deck. This isn't going to make a bad cycling deck good. You know, this is just going to make a good cycling deck maybe a little bit better. Crook of Condemnation. 2. Artifact. Uncommon. 1. Tap. Exile target card from your graveyard. 1. Exile Crook of Condemnation. Exile all cards from graveyards. I don't know. Like, it's a worse Relic of Progenitus. I don't see you playing this in sealed. Playing this in limited at all. I guess I give this a sideboard rating. This is like a sideboard C. It's, you know, whatever. Dagger of the Worthy. 2. Uncommon. Equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Afflict 1 and has Equip 2. I think this is a little too expensive. Equipped, so for a grand total of 4 mana, you're giving a creature +2/+0 and Afflict 1. Not in on that. I think if either the equip cost or the actual cost of the artifact was 1, I think it would have been a lot better. But I really don't like this card, and I actually think I'm going to give this a D. I don't think you should be putting this in your deck at all. Godfarrow's Gift. 7 mana for a rare artifact. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 black zombie and gains haste until end of turn. Okay, so obviously, if you can get Gate to the Afterlife in your Amonkhet packs, you should put this in your deck, just for the fun. I don't know how good this is, though. This will be a fun card to open at, like, a pre-release. You know, though, 7 mana for this effect is actually not bad, though. 7 mana to make a 4/4 and then make another 4/4 and then make another 4/4. I think it's actually pretty good. Yeah, I think I have to change my initial evaluation on this. I think this might be good. I think this might be like a C+ or a B-. It does cost a lot, and it might cost enough to the point where you're just going to lose the game. But I think also it might just be something like Sandworm Convergence, where it's just absolutely taking over the game at a certain point in time. So, I think I'll give this a C+. I think that's fair. Graven Abomination, this one's much easier. It's a 3/1 for 3. It's common. It's an artifact creature horror. When Graven Abomination attacks, exile target card from defending player's graveyard. This card is bad. It's just bad. So I'll give this a D. Hollow One, 5 mana for 4/4. It's rare Golem. Hollow One costs 2 less to cast for each card you cycled or discard this turn, and it has cycling for 2. In a good cycling deck, this is great. And then has cycling for 2, and you know what? It's a 5 mana 4/4, and when you cycle one thing, it becomes a 3 mana 4/4. That to me is good enough for me to say that this just kind of makes the cut in really any deck with like a couple cycling cards in it. Because a 5 mana 4/4 isn't even that bad. So I will play this card, and I think I will pick this card at a reasonable position in the draft. I think it's like, I think this is kind of like between a C+ and a B-. So pick one. Manolith, 3, common. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. You know, I don't see myself playing this in any drafts at all. And if I'm forced to play this in sealed, I'm upset that my mana fixing was so bad that I have to play Manolith. This is a D. Mirage Mirror, 3, rare. For 2, becomes a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land on the turn. This can be the best thing on the battlefield at a given time for 2 mana a turn. And I mean, I don't know. I really don't think this is good. You know, there's going to be games where it's like, Mirage Mirror, make a copy of a Glorybringer. Now I have a Glorybringer. But I think there's also going to be games where it's just like, I spent 3 mana on this, and I died to exert creatures. So I am going to give this a... I think I'm actually going to give this a D. I think it's pretty bad. Maybe a C-. We'll see how it goes. Sunset Pyramid. 2, uncommon. Enters with 3 rare counters on it. 2 tap, remove a rare counter from Sunset Pyramid, draw a card. And 2 and tap, scry 1. So this is the type of card that I really hope is good in this format, but I fear that the format will be fast to the extent where this is not good. That said, I think this probably falls somewhere in the C range. I think this is a C, and I think you do get a lot of value off of it if you're like drawing cards. I think, you know, in like sealed, this is gonna be really good. I know I said that a lot, but in sealed, I think this will be good. This will really let you grind out a game. But in draft, I don't really want it. I think this is a C. I think it's a pretty safe C. Traveler's Amulet, it's back. You know, 1 artifact, common, 1 sack, get a land, put it in your hand. I mean, it helps with mana fixing. It's not the worst card ever. You know, if you're really stuck on mana or you really want to play 3 colors, you know, Traveler's Amulet is a better option than Manolith, for example. So, I mean, take that as you will. I think Traveler's Amulet is okay, but in a 2-color deck, I'm not playing Traveler's Amulet by any means. In a 3-color deck, or a deck where I really have a bomb that I really need to get the splash for, I think I might play Traveler's Amulet. So it sort of depends on what you're already packing in your deck. But I think, you know, it sort of depends. I'll give it a D, but, you know, it depends. If you need mana fixing, then you should probably play Traveler's Amulet. Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs. 2/0/4 wall, common, defender. Tap it, deals 1 damage to target player. Activate this if you control a desert or you have a desert in your graveyard. Not a fan, really. Maybe. It is a good blocker. I mean, I guess this formula will come out to, like, is 04 a good enough blocker for me to have? And if it is, then this is like a C. And if it's not, then this is like a D. So we'll just see. I'm going to go ahead and give this a C-. Because this might actually be not bad. Because if you have a very controlling deck, this is a good, you know, blocker in the early game. It's something that lets you, you know, put -1/-1 counters on it. And, you know, for the 3 mana removal spell, I'm going to have to learn the name of that. But ultimately, this is just a wall, and it's not great. And the pinging is nice, too. We'll see. Maybe this is better. Maybe this is a C. But I'm going to give it a C- and say it's more like a D. Okay. Moving on to land. We're almost there. Crypt of the Eternals. Uncommon. When it enters the battlefield, you gain a life. You can tap it for colorless, or you can pay 1 and tap it for any of the Grixis colors. You know, blue, black, or red. This is just strictly worse than, you know, Painted Bluffs. Yeah, Painted Bluffs. It's not even a desert. If it was a desert, I would bump it up, but it's not even a desert, and it doesn't even fix you that well. Um, this is an F. F for me. I mean, you know what? I'll change that to a D, and I'll say this. I said before that the gods are very worth splashing for. And I do think that they are worth splashing for. And sometimes you're going to want to have a card like this to help you cast one of the gods that's in an off color from your deck. That's such a specific thing that I'm going to just contradict myself again and say that, like, who cares even? You know? Like, okay, it's an F. But if you really need to, like, if you have one of the gods, then it's a D. Or maybe use your own evaluation. I'll say don't play this, but whatever. Unless you dire need to splash. Okay, so these are, I'm just going to go through all at once. Desert of the Fervent is red. Desert of the Glorified is black. Desert of the Indomitable is green. Desert of the Mindful is blue. And Desert of the True is white. These are all the same. They enter tapped. They add for whatever color they have. And they cycle for one generic and then whatever the color. So these are the common cycle of deserts. Of monocolored deserts. These are absolutely reasonable if you're already in those colors. I think you want them. I would give all of these a C because I would take these with the same priority that you take Evolving Wilds, which is to say this will smooth out my deck, this will make my draws better, but it's not essential in my deck. That said, if you have any of the colors, you might as well just play these. You're not really missing out. You don't want too many because you don't want all your lands to come in untapped. You don't want all your lands to come in tapped. But I do think that these are all basically seed quality. These are all something that they will make your deck better. They will not make your deck worse. And you will probably feel good for having them in your deck. Alright, Dunes of the Dead, Desert. And also, these are all deserts. So for all the Deserts Matters cards, these are extremely important. And they don't take away from your colors, which is crucial. So, Dunes of the Dead, another desert. This is uncommon. Tap to add colors to your mana pool. When it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So this is actually kind of useful with other desert cards, especially the cycle of deserts that ask you to sack a desert for a spell effect. So this is good when you have those. As far as taking away a mana symbol, I think that is risky. But I think depending on the number of the uncommon monocolored deserts that you get, it will increase the priority of taking this. But I think I'm going to put this at a C minus. This is a low priority pick, but this is a pick that you should definitely be concerned, that you should definitely be aware of. That this could be potentially really good. Endless Sands. This is a rare desert. Beautiful art by Noah Bradley. Tap to add colorless to your mana pool. 2 tap, exile target creature you control. 4 tap, sack it, return each creature exiled with it to its owner's to the battlefield under its owner's control. So this is Safe Haven. I don't think this is limited playable. I mean, yeah, you get to save some of your creatures, but I'm not a fan of this. I would not play this. Probably in any deck. I think this is an F. This is an F, and if you have enough Desert Matter cards, this is a D. Okay, moving on to this is the uncommon cycle of deserts. So these are I can't give all these their own individual review because all the same review because these are actually different. So they all do the same thing, which is I'll just say for the first half, tap to add colorless or pay a life, add that color.